All right, well, sex is not often a topic of public discussion.
Now, researchers are finding something surprising. Americans are having less sex. News 4's Marissa Hollowed looks into possible reasons for the sex recession.
Wait, we're not? Like, that's the thing now? A sex recession? It's really dry out here.
And the data backs it up. The General Social Survey is a federally funded survey run out of the University of Chicago that analyzes social trends every 2 years. It finds people in their early 20s now are 2.5 times as likely to be abstinent than Gen Xers when they were the same age. And besides millennials, the average adult is having sex 14% less often. 73% of young adults 18 to 30 reported having sex twice a month in the early 2000s. By 2016, that number dropped to 66%.
Sex doesn't just happen.
To explain this dip, I went to the sexperts, local sex therapists and counselors.
Is there a sex recession happening in St. Louis?
My practice is booming.
There definitely seems to be a recession, or a lot of people within this generation having less sex.
You know, is this something you discuss with your clients?
Absolutely.
And I spoke to regular people, one bold enough to talk about her sex life on camera.
Honestly, one, I just don't have any time and I'm not really interested right now.
Raven Caraway is
26.
And like the experts, she says the lack of lovin' makes sense. After scouring through articles, research, talking with experts, and candid people, there are a few clear themes.
There's always binging and dinging.
We are glued to our phones and are missing face-to-face connection.
We can be in a room with like 4 or 5 people and we can all be on our phones and literally have no conversation at all.
Bill, the times that we're together as people have diminished, and I think that is what helps us have that spark.
That brings us to the next point. This distraction has changed the way we communicate into a learned disconnection.
We're kind of glued into technology so much that it can feel a bit awkward to interact socially.
Another thing that we're seeing in the society is loneliness among every age group, including millennials.
So a lot of people turn to dating apps, and although they have some success, it may be more of a mirage than a pool of potentials.
The apps seem to reinforce beautiful people, you know, who get lots of hits, and really don't do much for the confidence of someone.
The New York Times recently profiled a ghostwriter that people hire for $2,000 a month to make their dating accounts more appealing. And there are even websites studying the best time of day to get a match.
It's a lot of work. Millennials spend an average of 10 hours a week swiping with little reward. Only 1/3 of people who met somebody on a dating app or site have actually gone out with them on an in-person date.
And since we're spending more time disconnected and alone,
I think a lot of people feel more comfortable with admitting that they are participating in solo sex, and it's not seen as much of a taboo as it used to be.
Recent social movements may be having an impact on our comfort with choice.
Like the Me Too movement and just women speaking out in general, like it has allowed other women in, you know, dating situations to feel like they have a voice.
Because I know that I don't have to put up with painful sex or bad sex, then I'm not going to settle for that.
2 millennial-specific reasons, some still live with mom and dad.
Are you going to bring back your date to your parents' basement? Like, what does that look like?
And the millennial mindset.
We're driven, I'll say, so like extremely goal-oriented. So instead of us like worrying about necessarily like settling down and, you know, the whole like relationship and dating and stuff like that, we're more concerned about, you know, where are we at as far as our careers are.
They worked hard, they follow the rules, they were striving always to get ahead. It came at the expense of having some social development, I think.
In some countries, like Japan, sexlessness has become such a problem, the population is dwindling. And although that's not an issue here, talking about and admitting to the problem might be.
St. Louis is still a little conservative on this. We are still a kind of a Midwest culture that believes in self-sufficiency.
If you want a little more action in your life, the experts say, put put down the phone, get out of the house, risk some awkwardness, and be as authentic as you can. In St. Louis, Marissa Holloway, News 4.